Welcome to StonerCast, your official deep dive into Columbus Clingstones baseball. As the AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves, the Clingstones are building the future of baseball in the A, and we're here to bring you closer to it all. Get the inside look at what makes this team and this community so special. This is StonerCast. Here's your hosts, Ricky and Dave.
Welcome to the very first episode of StonerCast, the podcast dedicated to Columbus Clingstones baseball. I'm your host, Ricky, and joining me each week is my co-host, Dave Norris.
Hey, how's it going, Ricky? It's an exciting season this year with the Clingstones. Can't think of a better way to kick this thing off.
Absolutely. The Clingstones just wrapped up their inaugural season. What a debut it was. From opening day to the final pitch, this team brought energy each and every day to Synovus Park and started building what I believe is going to be a very beautiful baseball tradition here in the Chattahoochee Valley. Before we jump in with today's guest, I just want to encourage you, if you love Columbus Clingstones baseball, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the StonerCast. That way you'll never miss an episode. We are going to work very hard to bring you all the inside access you can stand all season long. To kick things off, we are going straight to the source. Our very first guest is none other than Columbus Clingstones General Manager Pete Laven. Pete's been at the center of building this franchise from the ground up. Today, we're going to talk about the highlights of year one and what's in store, maybe a few hints as to what's in store for season 2 of AA baseball here in Columbus. So, everybody, if you will just welcome Pete Laven into StonerCast. Welcome, Pete.
Hey, Ricky. Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Hey.
Honored to be your first guest. Exciting.
Yeah, I can't think of a better first guest. We got the man himself. So you guys just wrapped up an amazing inaugural season. Everybody from the players, the coaches, down to the folks working the gates, just made it an amazing year one in Columbus. I know the hay is just barely in the barn, but can you give us some things that you're really proud of, some things that you hope to improve going forward, and what your overall grade is for the 2025 season?
Well, I mean, things I'm proud of, I'd have to say just the way the community responded to the team. That was one of those things. It was such a fire drill from the time that it was announced that the team was coming to be ready for April 15th opening day. And it was our duty to make sure the stadium was ready, along with, of course, Brassfield and Gorey and Populous, our architects. And, all the time, hoping it would be something the community would be proud of in regards to Synovus Park. But you never truly know until you open the gates. And, a few people had sneak previews, of course, but for the most part, everybody was seeing it on their first visit. So to get such an overwhelmingly positive response, especially to, I don't want to say there was a lot of naysayers. There may have been some, but there was, natural skepticism in the community, based on, other teams that had come through and other affiliated major league teams that have come and gone. So, you can't blame anyone for holding their opinions till they saw it. But to get those opinions from people, whether it was opening day or on their first visit sometime April, May, or June, that they really appreciated how the stadium, held on to a lot of the great features of Golden Park, kept that intimate feeling. That was very satisfying to me, in addition to the people that came out, in droves early on to help legitimize what the project was all about, connecting families, connecting youth leagues, connecting schools, and so on. To answer your question as far as a grade, I know there's, first year, especially having an abbreviated off season, just moving into the park. There's certain things, I know we'll even, we'll do better getting ready for the 2026 season. And, I haven't been a part of new stadium builds in the past, and ones that have been really good opening seasons. You see year 2 is better than year 1, year 3 better than year 2 in a lot of instances, and that's always going to be our goal. So, knowing there are things we can improve on, absolutely, just with more comfort, having our feet on the ground more and solidifying everybody's roles. Tough to give a B+, I'll give us a B for 2025.
Ooh, that's harsh.
That's hard.
That leaves room. Next time when we talk next year, we'll have an A.
Well, from this season ticket holder's perspective, I'm going to give you guys an A.
Thank you.
Obviously, room for some improvement in multiple areas, but man, you guys killed it this season. I'm very proud of you, your staff, on what you guys produced for us fans all year round.
Thank you.
My experience there was an A too. I would say the few experiences I got to have, I will be a season ticket holder next year, be coming to more games. But I would give you guys an A. But I will say I do respect you in a leadership role, giving yourself a B. That's that's you saying there's room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, and that's very respectful.
Oh, absolutely. And that's our job to not only keep the stadium looking good, but keep the fan experience great, but also fresh. New ideas every year, new concession items, new music, new promotions. Obviously there'll be new players on the field every year. So it's that's one of the great things about minor league baseball. It should never be stale in any regard for the fans each year as they come out. And to be honest, as each season progresses, the things should be kept fresh on a nightly basis. Every night should be equal to coming out on opening day as far as what we're trying to deliver to the fans.
Pete, you got a lot of different kinds of responsibilities as a general manager. What are some of the biggest challenges in running a modern minor league franchise?
Well, some things that are throughout minor league baseball is you can term it a challenge or just kind of the new way. After, I think it was the year after COVID, 2021, Major League Baseball took over the governance of minor league baseball. A lot of people, and rightfully so, would say, well, hasn't that always been the case? But for years, minor league baseball reported to PBNL, Professional Baseball National Association, down in St. Petersburg, Florida. Then they had to deal with Major League Baseball regarding player development contracts. You have 2 or 4 year deals with teams to develop their talent. But in 2021, when Major League Baseball took it over, they instituted new facility standards for every stadium throughout minor league baseball. And that at that same time, and you've probably heard all this, but they went from 160 minor league teams to 120. 40 of the teams 40 cities lost affiliated Major League Baseball. And I think a lot of that has to do with how great the facilities are in these college programs now, where guys go from an SEC school or any Power 5, and then they'd go to rookie ball league team. That would be a huge step down as far as facilities. So they made every team, city, municipality have their stadiums up to a certain standard. It was like down to how tall and long the batting cages are, the square footage of a visiting trainer's room. You had to have commissaries in the clubhouses, female locker rooms for female coaches. All good rules, all progressive, and all for the benefit of the future of players' health and wellness. But it did present a challenge for a lot of teams, a lot of cities, because some cities had to put up another $9 million for a new clubhouse, things like that. We had the advantage here in Columbus of building our stadium to those specs. But along with the health and wellness improvements they asked for includes like 2 buses for every road trip. If it's over 250 miles, one of the buses, a luxury bus or sleeper bus. So those are challenges that affect the budget and so on. But that's a long-winded way of saying those are the new challenge, I would say, with affiliated minor league baseball in the last few years. But a lot of it's still the same as it's always been in our roles of working in lockstep with the major league club as far as their player development goes in each city.
Well, that's quite a bit. I want to jump on a Wayback Machine here real quick. You also worked with an independent team called the Schaumburg Flyers in the past. How does operating an indie ball club, how is that any different than a modern minor league club?
That's a great question. It's the same in a lot of ways, but also a lot of differences. When I was in Chicago, I worked for the owner of the Schaumburg Boomers. They were the Flyers, the Boomers now, and then same stadium, and then the Gary Railcats, both in the Chicagoland area. It was interesting, intriguing. I did it for 5 years between my role as GM in Arkansas and then in Mississippi, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Learning that side of the industry. The biggest difference I would say is some of the expenses, and they're large ones at that. Yeah, independent ball, you pay the players, but the salary cap, they don't make a ton of money, so the salary cap is pretty manageable. What kills you is the work comp. If one guy has a Tommy John surgery, your insurance will cover it, but then your premium goes up to that exact amount, like another $120,000 the next year. So there's some real pitfalls there to watch out for budget wise that don't exist here with the major league affiliate taking care of all the players' salaries, their medical, etc., where we take care of the other expenses like uniforms, travel, and some of those expenses. And then there's some smaller ones, of course, where promotionally, where in independent ball, you can do a theme night jersey with, a corporate logo all over both sleeves, on the back, whatever you want to do. Here, if you do a theme night jersey and it's sponsored, the sponsor, even if it's a 501c3, can just be on the shirt tail, which basically only can be seen if somebody's framing that jersey. Those are some of the smaller ones, but the larger ones come with some of the expenses related to the players in independent ball where you're handling all that.
Stepping away from baseball for a minute, Pete, I know you're a husband, you're a father, and I just recently discovered that you were a pretty talented artist and painter. If there were a Pete Laven bobblehead being given at Synovus Park on opening night 2026, what is your bobblehead doing? Is he painting? Is he pulling tarp? Crunching numbers?
Those are all things I do. I mean, I know a lot of good artists, so I don't consider myself an artist, but I do like to paint. And, I think the bobblehead would have to have a hat, the curved bill, low rider. I don't look good in the flat bill cap like the younger staff do, the younger folks, and even the older folks. I can't pull it off, but my bobble will definitely have a hat. If you asked our staff, I might be in a softball uniform with bloody arms and knees and even a bloody face. I wiped out in our co-ed softball team the other day, and we played 2 doubleheaders so far, and for some reason, I guess, I see a ball, I have to dive for it, even at my age. And so with a lot of our staff being on the team, they'd probably see, if you're doing a bobble with Pete, make sure he's got scrapes on his knees and elbows and even face now. But, it's, hobbies include painting, like you said, writing. I'm in the process of trying to finish a book about my first year in minor league baseball that, I may or may not ever finish, but that's something. I was a journalism major, so I still like to write. more of as a hobby now, and also incorporate into my job when I can. But yeah, no, just a frustrated former athlete and someone that loves his job. And, I think anyway that I think our staff could help put together a good bobblehead tribute better than I could relay it.
I've got to ask, just as a follow-up to that question. So I did not know your staff was doing a co-ed softball league. Where is Kobe Vance batting? It's got to be cleanup, right?
Kobe is not on the team. I think he's too busy giving lessons on how to really play the game.
Right.
Probably so.
Pardon me?
Probably so.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yes,
it's fun to watch. If you're ever near South Commons on a Wednesday night, it's at least good for a few chuckles, but we all have a good time. Timmy Hines, our director of stadium operations, is the skipper of the ball club, but you'd see a lot of familiar faces out there on the field.
I hope you got Steven Stokes playing, maybe.
He is.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, he's out there directing traffic a lot of the times too.
Nice.
Ryan Harrison playing out there?
Nope. Nope. Brian's not out there, and but yeah, we're still looking for our first win after a couple weeks, but I can see the team starting to gel.
Nice.
Very good. How much involvement do you have with the development of player developmental decisions versus focusing on the business operations? Do you have your hands in the development of them as much as you do the business, or in any part of it?
Almost zero, to be honest. In the player development side, the Atlanta Braves, their farm director Ben Sustanovich, we're in constant contact throughout the season, and or me and Cody Gabella, the coaching staff, or even Angel Piva, their equipment manager, clubhouse manager. So there's daily interaction as far as player needs and so on, whether it be travel, etc. But as far as, do they ever ask if we should bring up a shortstop or, add a lefty to the bullpen? Absolutely not. That's sometimes happening in independent ball, though, where, I could recommend a player I had seen, or through contacts in affiliated baseball that had just been released and so on. But, similar to where the Atlanta Braves personnel would never, tell us to charge more for outfield fence on or less for a box of popcorn. We don't get involved in any of the player personnel decisions at all.
Right.
Awesome.
That's
So,
what I was thinking, because Chris Sale, they were going to send him down, and then they decided to send him into the game in Memphis, and a lot of people got a little mad thinking that the Clingstones or somebody else had something to do with that, and the Clingstones really don't have anything to do with that. The Braves are going to send him where he can get his throws in,
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah. If you could see the behind the scenes when a situation like that comes up, it's pretty interesting, because it always starts with a rumor or even word from the major league club that it could happen, and based on previous experience, I wait till we have double, triple, quadruple confirmation before you see any information coming from us. I mean, you saw from at least 5 or 6 different sources that Sale was coming here before you saw anything from the Clingstones, I'm sure. And
Right.
So we try to keep it, and we know that could change anytime. I had the same situation when I was in Arkansas with Torrey Hunter. We were an Angels AA team. Torrey Hunter was from Arkansas. There was a good possibility he was coming, but then he didn't. And he even went on the radio saying, "Hey, Arkansas friends, I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday." And then he didn't pass the physical the day before, so he never came. So those, especially when it comes to an injury, somebody rehabbing an injury, it can be so tedious all the way till they come. And so such a fragile situation. So that was unfortunate with the sale, with the shifting of course. But I'll be honest, and I'll never say this again, but a part of me was a tiny bit relieved because, as Ricky, as you know, that night was just stacked. We had fuzzy bobbleheads. We had the Gold Glove Charities event. When it was announced, we only had about 100 seats, actual seats left to sell.
Yep.
And because that Gold Glove event, it's something I've been doing in other stadiums for years. It's so the players on the team are so instrumental in the success of that event. The last thing you want them to do is be tight that day, nervous, preoccupied, and the coaches as well. And if you have a former Cy Young, future Hall of Fame pitcher throwing for your team that night, your natural tendency would be, pretty tense getting ready for that game that night. So, while I'll never in my career turn down a rehab appearance from any player of that stature, absolutely, a tiny part of me was relieved just because I knew what we had planned that night, and the interaction of the players and the kiddos that are battling cancer was probably going to be less encumbered by what was going to happen during the game that night.
Right.
For sure. So, Pete, what's a rundown of your schedule on game days? I know you are all over the ballpark, up and down the common courses, the walkway there in front of the main bowl. I'm curious to know what time you get there, what time you leave, and how many steps do you estimate that you log on a game day?
The steps one I can accurately tell you. Average is about, on a busy night, about 16,000 steps, maybe. I don't know what that translates into miles, but and then there's some nights where it's a lot less. But I'm one of those GMs, and like a lot of them, what attracts people to this business is how every day is different, and there's not many days where you just said I'd lose my marbles if I just sat at my desk all day. Especially working at a stadium, it's conducive not to. Some days it feels like you're on Zoom calls, 3/4 of the day, which sometimes you are. But I try to get out and about, to touch every department during the game. Heavily involved in the game script, the promotion. So I'll take 3 or 4 trips to the press box every day. And while I do that, it gives me opportunity to, see the fans along the lower main aisle and the concourse, and talk to people, ushers along the way. And, some nights I'll visit 3 or 4 suites, so it just depends on what's going on, the speed of the game, what type of promotions we have. But, it's funny, my wife will often ask me, like, during the normal course of the off season, even like, how was work? What'd you do today? I'm like, I have no idea. I know it was busy and it went by fast, but it's just like things change. Things are, so many different parts to my day. So many different, whether it's in-person meetings or, an interesting lunch or an interesting visitor, or, some days are knocking out proposals. It's one thing I love about my job, and I try to, relay it to the younger staff, is if you have a job where you're not looking at the clock all day, that's important, because you spend so much of your career, so much of your life, whether it's a regular job or a crazy industry like this, at your occupation. If you're in a job where you're just staring at the clock all day, then it doesn't matter how much they pay you. It's got to be tough. So it's, if you can make a career in something where the days just fly by, no matter how long you're working, you're doing something right, and would often lead to happiness.
Pete, the Stones are a brand new team. How did you approach building the identity of this team from scratch? It's very interesting, and that it's a peach and the colors and such as that. So how did y'all begin to build this from scratch?
Well, it was very interesting and oft asked question, of course, especially after the brand reveal. But when I took the job, the name was already chosen, and first thing I thought of when I heard the name was and saw the colors and the uniform and everything was, how cool is it going to be the only professional sports team with their dominant color peach? That's unique. That's what minor league baseball is all about. I saw the uniform combinations where one of them will be all peach, where it's we've seen the popularity with the bananas, Savannah Bananas, all yellow uniforms. So I'm like, there's something else that could strike a chord. I wasn't familiar with the name Clingstone, what a Clingstone was, much like a lot of people at first, but I thought it made sense. Immediate with Georgia being the peach state, I thought it was very marketable. And, as far as the launch, y'all remember after it was announced, there was a lot of blowback. A lot of people weren't real enamored with the name, but that didn't really concern me. Some thought maybe I should have been more worried about it, but I'd seen it so many other times in other cities, whether it be the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp or the Rocket City Trash Pandas. They all got pushback. They all had petitions in town, wanting the team to change the name. But, just saw if you held firm, didn't try to, argue back with anybody, which is fruitless. People eventually hopefully embrace the name, embrace the product. And we think ultimately they did. We had comments from visitors from Major League Baseball retail that came to our game and said, it's amazing. We see a lot of stadiums. One thing we always look for is how many people come to the games in that team's gear. And y'all have probably a larger percentage than we've seen in years, that come in Clingstones apparel. So I think we're doing something right. I think with Mackenzie, the work she's done down in the Orchard team store has really resonated with our fans from the get-go. You've seen from the fluctuations of available merchandise in the team store, and then the new items. Anytime something new comes in, how that gains popularity, and that much like the promotions and seasons to come will be one of our real objectives as far as making that fresh for our fans.
And I'm glad you mentioned Mackenzie. I think she's one of the staff members that really works more behind the scenes. Not a lot of folks get to know her like they do their account reps or even the security guards or gate people. But Mackenzie's been incredible, an incredible asset for you guys. And she's got a thankless job. If she didn't have your size of shirt in stock, then she's automatically the enemy, right? I think she did a great job of managing with grace, with a smile. And I was proud to watch her development, just as I was of Adam Zabrowski or Lucas Braun. I think minor leagues is, sometimes it's a farm for not just players. It's a farm for folks that want to go into the business side of it. And I think Mackenzie's got it. Her and her team were sold out of a lot of products over the year. And it wasn't because she wasn't doing her job and not ordering. It was the demand was there. And like you mentioned, the public negative chatter around the name, the color scheme, the peach on peach uniforms that everybody referred to as pink to begin with. But there were times this season where they were sold out of almost everything. And I think it's safe to say Columbus embraced the brand. Where do you think, and I know you can't really give numbers, actual numbers, but where do you think Columbus ranked amongst the Southern League and then maybe even a step further, all of minor league baseball in merchandise sales this season?
Well, I would say, without seeing the stats, I'm tempted to say we're number one in the Southern League, but I know Rocket City is a behemoth with their logo that sells just globally still to this day. But I'd be interested to see. But I think our merch sales probably in the top 5% of all minor league baseball. Just talking to other teams, and not just in our region, but within DBH and so on. They've been super impressed with the numbers, the merchandise that we've moved, and I think that is a direct result of the work Mackenzie's done down there, and the feedback we've received from the fans, not only from the time we've been here at Synovus Park, but even back when we released the brand in September and opened up the little pop-up store on Broadway. It's been great. People coming in and out of that store right after the brand was announced. People that thought they weren't going to like the name, the merch, were immediately impressed, at least from the feedback that I received, and it's reverberated nationally as well. But none of the success would be recognizable without what the city of Columbus did in their response to it. Just from the time 2 weeks before we opened the stadium to those first two homestands, people did not want to come to a game unless they had their jersey, their T-shirt, their hat first. And that seemed like that mentality lasted throughout the season. So we hope to continue that in years to come.
As a side story, I went to a Braves game last night, and walking through the concourse, I was wearing my 4th of July Clingstones hat, and a random person's like, "Hey, is that Clingstones? Is that the Clingstones logo?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Where'd you get that hat?" I said, "Well, I bought it at the game, at the team store, but you can buy it online." He's like, "Man, I've been looking. I was hoping the Braves would have one on the shelf." And so I think the brand is maybe it's not going to reach Trash Panda status. Because who doesn't want a raccoon like jumping out of a trash can as a logo? But I like to wear fuzzy just as much. So hopefully the logo, the brand recognition is on its way. I know Unc Zuna has been doing a ton of live TikToks, and he's got that Clingstones hat prominently right behind him, which it's cool to see. Those kind of people are the ones that are gonna explode the brand. So
I love when it spreads grassroots wise like that with Unc Zuna and so on. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dan Simon from Simon Studios, who came up with our logo and our team colors and uniform concepts. So Dan knocked it out of the park, and he's going to be helping us with other theme night caps to come and so on.
And I do want to mention here, while we have an opportunity, there is a podcast that I recently discovered as a graphic designer by day, Clingstones fan 24/7, but that doesn't pay the bills. So I have to slave behind a computer screen. Anyway, I found a podcast called Baseball by Design, and it's a look basically into minor league logos and the stories behind them. And I was pleasantly surprised to find one had already been done on the Clingstones over a year ago. And they had Pete on as part of the episode, and you get to hear from Dan Simon, the gentleman that designed the entire brand, everything from the fuzzy character to the C, the Pete C. And it's a great listen at this time. If you guys, once you're finished listening to StonerCast and before our next episode drops, check out Baseball by Design. Listen to Dan Simon speak about this brand. It's really a great look into what went on behind the scenes to build this brand out. So
it's really well done. You're right.
Yeah, it's a really good podcast. Appreciate you turning me on to that, Rick. Pete, with 2026 being the 100th anniversary of the stadium, are there any plans that you can talk about in reference to tributes of past teams like the Columbus Foxes, which were the original baseball team in Columbus, and of course the Mudcats and the Red Sticks?
Well, to answer your question, yes, we next year's theme is going to be the 100th year of the venue, the centennial season, if you will, and a big part of that will be paying tribute to Synovus Park, now Golden Park, now Synovus Park, and its history. Whether it's via statues, giveaways, tributes to previous teams that have played here. We also have other theme night uniforms and hats underway. I can't reveal exactly what they are yet. But to answer your question, I love doing the throwback jerseys, the hats, whether it's as a giveaway or on-field apparel. I don't think we'd empty the tank on all the teams next year, but I think you'll definitely see one, and then as years go by, at least one every year, because I think that's important. And we listen to what the fans have to say, and it's amazing. I wore a Red Sticks jersey on our summer ween night and got so many comments on it. And I think it's because it's a cool jersey, but also because of people's how people identify with the teams that have played here at Golden Park.
How hot were you in that jersey wearing it?
It was okay. It wasn't bad. Players nowadays, would consider that like Kevlar, but walking around, it's I was just fine with it. And those materials have gotten a lot softer nowadays in what they wear on field for good reason.
Well, your last answer, you kind of dipped into my next question a little bit. But I'm going to take this opportunity now to go ahead and start the effort to have the Clingstones take the field in a Stoners uniform. I believe what we've got is a killer logo. I think it would sell.
Woo.
That could be a specialty jersey, and I believe you guys would probably clean up on it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could ever just meet the guy that came up with that logo, he's probably really famous for his
I heard that they would give you the rights, pretty no charge. Maybe a hot dog at the stadium or something, and rights could be worked out. So
yeah,
that could definitely be worked out. I'm willing to run anything by MLB. They have ultimate approval on all jerseys, and they've been known to take risks before.
Dave loves to say, throw that apostrophe in front of the S.
Yes,
and it's a completely different meaning. So
it's a very important apostrophe right there. I've had to explain that more than 100 times. Yeah.
So Pete, we're going to just do a couple of rapid fire answers, just quick, shoot from the hip, and just give us another little bit, and then we'll say goodbye to you for this episode, and we'll start already looking forward to recording the next. But favorite Columbus restaurant so far?
I'll say the Loft.
Good choice.
Good one.
Favorite concession item at Synovus Park?
I'm gonna have to say helmet nachos.
Nice. Another good choice.
Yeah.
If you had a walk-up song every day as you walked into the office, which song are you picking?
That would be Aneurysm by Nirvana.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, last one. In a WOW hot dog race, Kevin Kilpatrick is hot dog, Geraldo Quintero is mustard, and Patrick Clohesi is ketchup. Who you got?
Ooh. I gotta go with Kevo just because of his overall body of work, but
absolutely,
that'd be a tight content. We almost feel like we got to make that happen.
So if you now let's fit 3 office members in. Let's put Julia in hot dog, maybe Cam in mustard, and give me one more here, Pete.
Oh, you mean you want me to offer one up? I will. I will give you Timmy Hines for sure.
All right. Who wins that race?
Definitely not Timmy. Julia and Cam,
Cam ran track in college.
Cam ran track at Auburn, but I haven't seen him run. He's a hard worker. He gets after it, but seeing Julia out on the softball fields, playing second base out there, the lateral movements there, and knows her way around a diamond. So I'm going to go with Julia to win the hot dog race.
Well, we may have to make that race actually happen next season. A Clingstones front office hot dog race.
Mm-hmm. As long as I'm exempt, because my face is all marked up right now because I went down rounding third the other night on the softball fields. I blame Timmy because I was wearing his spikes, so they were a little flat. They hadn't been used since 1998, but other than that, I'm all for any interstaff competition similar to that.
Well, Pete, we thank you for joining us on this inaugural first episode of StonerCast. Is there anything else you'd like to just put out to the fans, the folks that are listening?
Oh, well, can't wait to see everybody in 2026, hopefully. And I know I'll see some of you season ticket holders before then with other events coming up. But we're here all off season. Feel free to come by and see us anytime you want. Doors are always open, even if you just want to talk some baseball. Can't say enough about everything y'all did, the Stoners group, above and beyond all year, including this today. I couldn't wait to see you guys again, even though it's only been a week since the season ended. I already miss everybody. And I know in the coming weeks, even with today, Clingstones playing baseball, the actual finale of the season, in a couple weeks, it'll really start to sink in when you don't have the buzz of the crowd, just seeing everybody's so many different people on a regular basis. So that makes you, yearn for it even more. So, but yeah, please, anybody that needs to get their fixed, because come out and even look at the field, look at the stadium, go through the gift shop, come see us. That does just as much for us when we see y'all.
Awesome to hear. Well, thank you again for coming on with us. I can't think of a better first guest for this first episode. You gave us some really great insight, and we really appreciate the time you've given us. Like I said earlier, you're a father, you're a husband, and you've got things going on other than Clingstones, but you took the time to join with our listeners and give us a little sneak peek. So thank you so much for that again. And
yes,
man, I cannot wait until 2026.
No, it's been an honor, guys, and seriously, anytime, give me a call.
Well, thank you so much, Pete. We're going to have you back on hopefully closer to the start of the 2026 season.
Absolutely.
As we get closer to it, we're going to let you cook a few things up and get a few things ready so that you can come out and with guns blazing, letting us know what we can expect for next season.
You're the first ones.
All right. Thanks so much, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Go
and
Stones.
We will see you soon.
Go
Take care,
Stones.
guys.
All right, folks, there you have it from the man himself, from Pete Laven. Lots of big things are cooking. I really, really leaned in close when he started talking about 2026 and the 100th anniversary of the ballpark. And, he did mention we may see a former team jersey make an appearance this coming season.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. I cannot wait to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and I mean, paying tribute to the one and only, the beautiful Golden Park, now known as Synovus Park. In my heart, she'll always be Golden Park.
Slip up and say it still sometimes.
Even before the renovation, she was a beautiful, beautiful sight for baseball. Yeah. Now, with the work that was done to get it ready for the Clingstones, it's become even more beautiful of a venue. So I'm super stoked to see how they honor her and all of her former glory as Golden Park for the 100th anniversary. So, Dave, I think that's about it for me. We would be remiss not to mention our wonderful producer, the beautiful Rakia Ware. You can find her on social media at Ricky Z, RICKEYZ_social. She's doing a great job for us putting this thing together. And we just cannot thank her enough for her efforts in helping us create StonerCast.
Greatly appreciate you, Ricky Z. Can't thank you enough. We really appreciate it.
Next episode, guys, we're going to be dropping another big one. Coming out of the gate with that for episode number 2, we will have Adam Zabrowski on, catcher for the Columbus Clingstones. We're going to have the Zabrowski Power Hour. We're going to do half an episode with Adam, and then we are bringing in Colleen Zabrowski. Adam's mama is going to join us, and she's going to give us some insight into what it's like to be the parent of a minor league ball player, what Adam was like growing up. So I think the Zabrowski Power Hour is going to be a great time, and we'll be dropping that here. When you're listening to this final product, you'll be looking at that in about a week and a half, 2 weeks time. So
I can't wait for it. That's going to be a really exciting episode as well. Today was great talking with Pete and learning kind of the ins and outs of how his daily work life is, and learn a little more about him personally too. And, helping understand how his everyday work life is and what it's like to run a minor league baseball team was really cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining. Until our next episode, this is StonerCast. We're glad you're here. And as always, go Stones.
Go Stones.
Thanks for tuning in to StonerCast, your inside look into Columbus Clingstones baseball. Please like, subscribe, and share to stay connected as we bring you closer to the Stones.